And we're live.
Chiz just linked to this. I figured you've probably had experience with this, Woody. ABC News, off of California, there's a paddleboarder guy, and he's surrounded by like 15 great white sharks, and they have to tell him to get back in. Like, this is why I'll never paddleboard or go out that far in the ocean. Like, oh man. Even though it's not reasonable at all.
Dude, let's watch this video together. Can we start over?
Yeah.
This is, I'm hearing the audio. The audio is not great, but it's super compelling. You guys queued up at 0?
Yep.
Ready, set, play.
Attention in the water. Attention in the water. This is the Orange County Sheriff's Department. Be advised, State Parks is asking us to make an announcement to let you know you are paddleboarding next to approximately 15 great white sharks. They're advising that you exit the water.
In a second, you'll see
in
all of them.
Calm manner.
Oh man.
The sharks are as close as the surf line. Thank you for your cooperation.
They're as close as the surf
The Orange County Sheriff's Department. Please be
I don't see any paddleboarders though.
Right?
Who are they talking to?
I guess someone closer to the. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I've seen a shark more than once. I don't know, 2-3 times, and but I have never been surrounded by 15 sharks or anything like that. And did he say they were great white sharks?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
indeed.
great whites. Wait, which ones are great whites really aggressive?
Great whites are the biggest ones. I think the tiger
bull
sharks
are the most aggressive, right?
Who knows, right? Like, what are we taking
sure.
Personality tests, or are we just gauging by how often people are attacked? Because what if we just live closer to the tiger sharks and all the scary sharks live somewhere where there aren't any people?
I'm not 100% sure.
Dangerous sharks to humans. Let's see.
I'd say the great white's probably among them.
Great white is number. I don't know if these are ranked. Great white, tiger, short fin mako, oceanic white tip shark, bull shark. And then it took me to another slideshow.
Which is the shark with the long tail? Is that the thresher shark?
Thresher shark, yeah.
Yeah. I always read that. It's probably a wives' tale about it, like jumping out of the water and the tail cutting a man's head off.
I've heard a wives' tale of like it being the thing that people saw coming out of the water that they thought was like some mythical beast, because from a distance that enormous tail looks almost like a neck and a head or something like that.
Sharks, they freak me out. One of the times I kept surfing, you know what it is? If I'm with other people, I'm like, all right, well, I guess we've collectively decided this is safe. If I'm alone, I'm afraid of sharks even when I don't see them. Like that's how I'm wired.
I am. It's that the subreddit is called Thalassophobia. I think it's like LASSO phobia, which sounds like you're afraid of cowboys tying you up, but that's not. That's not what it is. It's. I think it seems to me that it's a fear of the ocean's depths, or at least the unknown of the ocean's depths. Maybe that is the fear. Yeah, and there's all these like videos and gifs of like undersea scary monsters. Just like it'll be like blurry gray ocean water, and then emerges this beast that you're just, oh god, it was right there the whole time.
It'll be like a flower sticking above the water, and then underneath it, you realize it's like the Kraken, with the flower antenna.
Oh, yeah. Some of it is like fictional. Yeah, they'll have fictional like monsters of the depth. But then, of course, they'll have like a shot of just an infinite number of fucking deadly jellyfish floating around in a death cloud in the ocean or something like that.
I always think it's weird when they give like phobia to things that you're supposed to be afraid of. Like, I always think of phobia as
homophobia.
like an irrational fear. Like that's what phobia. No, is phobia just fear or irrational fear? Because I always think of it as irrational fears. So people who are phobic of like cotton, or phobic of turning left in their car. Those are two examples from a show that I watched where one woman got in a car accident turning left once, and so now this bitch just takes right turns everywhere. If she needs to go 100 yards to her left in the car, she will take a right and a right and a right. And make it back that way.
That should be a GPS setting. Like, all right, I need to get to Orlando. Right. All right turns.
Like the reverse NASCAR setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like I always think of it like that, but when it's like, oh, Thalassophobia or whatever the fuck you said it was, fear of total
Fear
unknown
of
in the depths of the ocean. It's like, well, yeah, of course people are afraid of that. Like our ancestors walked over and looked at big, deep pools of water and said, hey, you know what? Most of the time when we jump in these, it does not pan out. So let's be wary. If you can see the bottom, we'll go there.
I would be so afraid if I were in the ocean, like in a life jacket or something, just bobbing up and down, and just with no like shoreline in sight, and no knowledge, of what's below me, because the answer is everything. The answer about what's below you is everything, and any of those awful things that you can even dream up might be down there below you. It's not necessarily like the land where it's like, if I'm in South Carolina, there aren't any fucking lions here. No lions in South Carolina. We run them all out of here. That's not exactly the same with the ocean. There might be a giant squid down there who just maybe he's sick today and he came up real high and he's sick, but he saw a fucking naked monkey up there bobbing around. He's gonna drag you down and then peck it and then like chew at you with that beak they have alive until as you drown. Or it could be a shark, or it could be just
it's a whole ocean of awful enemies. It's just enemies in there. Like everything wants to hurt you. Everything wants to hurt you because they can see you and they go, that does not belong here. So I can tell.
When I was a lifeguard stories, if there were 3 people working that day, which was unusual but sometimes happened, I would definitely, if unless I was the lowest ranked guy, I'd take a guy below me and he had to do whatever I said. Like it was like that's kind of how the thing was run. It went very strictly by seniority, and I'd make them swim out with me. We'd swim so far. It wasn't that we couldn't see land, but we could only see like the telephone pole tops and stuff like that, like the tops of buildings and stuff. You just certainly couldn't see the beach. We were out way too far for that. And we would just swim way the fuck out there. Like that was, I really enjoy that. Sometimes when I think, I don't know if it's still open or whatever, but in my mind, that invite to Sailing La Vagabond, like, hey, Woody, you should come with us and, you know, whatever, do a sailboat thing. I'm like, oh, they could totally make this happen. We could go like 10 miles out and I'd swim where it's 1,000 feet deep and like nowhere near anything. To them, I bet that's just a casual thing that they do sometimes. To me, like I've never gotten that done. I really want to swim in the middle of nowhere.
That sounds awful.
That is so close to the bottom of the things that I want to do. That list is long as fuck, and that is so far to the bottom of it. It sounds like every moment of that, my panic levels will be rising, and it would be a real thing where I would have to master that. I would have to concentrate on that the entire time to keep that fear at a manageable level and resist panic. You know,
that's
it's
what
like
flying was for me.
Have you ever been in a claustrophobic situation where you're like locked into something? You have to master that fear and get in control of that, or it'll take complete control and you'll be hyperventilating and clawing at whatever you're hiding in. For me, it's always like, all right, let's lock me into this. Like I've been locked in vaults and safes and barrels and stuff for,
of course,
whether it's a prank or it's for a video idea. Like I've been locked in like an actual like safe, like a gun safe, and then wait till the guy gets back and and I'm like, and I'm in your safe waiting. It's like, how did a man get in there? It's like, you know, you take all his guns out and then you got to hope that he doesn't put his guns away loaded, because then he just kills you. You need an accomplice for that. You need a second friend there to be like, yeah, you don't have a gun, do you? Yeah, open the safe now.
Man, I would rather take my chances against the eagle than swim out there in the depths with all those enemies. All those sea enemies. It's just so scary, because it's not like you don't have a chance. Like anything that's aggressive in the sea, like it's built
even if
to
it's
swim.
like
it's funny, like because
like
when you say that amongst land animals, like, oh, Woody, a wolf would kill you. I'm like, I don't know. Let's give it a go. But in the water, I don't know. Yeah. but in the water, I'm like, yes, absolutely. They are so much better at swimming than even the best version of me. Like even a little fish, like one this big, I feel like would be able to just come at me, take bites, and get away from me.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I would have a very hard time stopping it from doing what it chose to do, right? You're not going to punch a fish. I can, if I had it trapped in an aquarium, I would have a very hard time grabbing it with my hands, let alone trying to swim and being in the ocean in every direction.
You could never touch this thing if you wanted to, but he's just like a guided missile who like eats you at his will.
So I used to keep a reef aquarium, right? If you asked me to catch a clownfish, which is like a Finding Nemo fish, with my hand, Very hard. You need a big fat fucking net to trap it into a corner. So the idea that even Finding Nemo would have a hard time biting me is wrong. He would just succeed.
Some kind of weird little fish would swim up your urethra.
Oh, that's in like rivers though.
In Amazon, yeah, they have barbs so that like go in and you don't get them back out. That's fucking terrifying. That's why I don't swim in the Amazon anymore.
One time is too many times.
I've never swam. Have you swam in the Amazon?
Of course I haven't swam in the Amazon.
I don't know. That's the thing.
So
I've swam in the Ganges.
Yeah, right. Well, a few times in the Adriatic, but no.
I swim in the Amazon. I bet people swim in it all the time.
I bet do you know what the Ganges River is?
No. Is it a
whitewater
rafting river
in India where everybody throws dead people in there and they bathe and wash in there too?
Oh.
Let me find a picture.
Find the floating bodies.
There are some rivers in India that have been depicted as so dirty. I have to ever see the flooding footage? Like, this is the flood. This is the great flood of like never heard this town, Georgia. And then you're like, oh, yes, but you have very selectively framed this shot to imply that this flooding goes on and on and on, when really it's just these two stores parking lots, right? Or you see people like, oh, they're trapped in this house. And then there's a Marine walking with an inflatable boat, like rescuing people who it's only shin deep. That is how I wonder if they're framing this river. Is it really that dirty? Yes. Or are they just like framing the dirtiest part on its worst day?
I'm trying to find a good video of it, but it's like mostly still pictures. Oh, this is
they put they put the dead bodies in it. They already have that whole problem with shitting in toilets. And so they struggle with it mightily. They have nuclear weapons, but not a toilet for every man. That I think their prime minister or president or whatever said that was one of his goals going into the 21st century: a toilet for every man.
Kyle's right though. Like, for all of India's advancements and their tech, they're big on IT, but they really seem to be at the bottom of the totem pole for toilets
and hygiene in general.
Yeah, you wipe your ass with your hands. With your fucking hands?
They don't even wipe it. I've seen them shitting on those beaches. They squat, drop a hot load like a dog, and then pull those fucking shorts up and fucking go about their smelly ass day with like and their ass.
You're gonna get a rash.
Their ass cheeks are smearing that shit all day. And so, like, I guarantee if he like bent over, you'd see like his ass is all covered in shit. They are covered in shit all day. Like, these are shit.
You could light a match on it. Just so
disgusting. That's
so much
dry. Yeah, Indian people you really got to step up your toilet game. You're doing like well in other aspects of the civilization game, but you skipped an item on the tech tree. You know,
I imagine most Indian people, like if someone in India who doesn't have access to a toilet was listening to this, I feel like they would be like,
I'm sure
oh yes, we've yet to think of the toilet. It's not that we cannot afford it or anything. We cannot have it. It's not that we don't want them. We like shitting in holes. We enjoy it. We enjoy shitting in holes on the street. Like, dude, do. I feel like that would be it.
They are shitting with no shame. Like it would be different if they were out there just like popping a squat and like, oh, I hate they have to do this on the beach in front of no, they're taking proud public shit.
Part of what Kyle's talking about is so India has a gigantic income disparity, right? And in America, even our poor people have cars, right? Like oh, I get it. You're driving a 1997 Civic or something, but you have a car. In India, the poor people are poor, right? There are guys making the equivalent of $100,000 a year, and then you've got other people living on whatever $1 a day or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, our poor is their 1%.
No, they've got rich too.
Yeah, pretty much.
But their income disparity is gigantic, and it's like a source of national shame in India. They don't like to talk about it. But dude, even your wealthy people, even your middle class, you're wiping your ass with your hands.
Is that true though?
Yeah.
Because I feel like once you've got middle class, upper class, like you spring for a toilet.
No, they have toilets. They don't have toilet paper. And I'm telling you, like, the people I work with had servants at home, and they wipe their ass with their hands.
Yeah.
But but there's toilet paper so readily available everywhere. Like you're here, you can go to any store, like any one you want. Like pick your favorite one and go get your favorite brand of favorite paper to wipe your ass.
Drugstores, grocery stores, convenience stores, gas stations are carrying toilet paper. You know.
Yeah. Just pick up some leaves.
They don't want your toilet paper. They enjoy the smell.
I don't know.
It can't be like
the ladies love it.
Dude, that seems like it's disastrous for public health that you've got little bits of feces under your fingernails and whatnot, and you're touching stuff.
Well, I think they wash their hands too.
Other people.
I think they wipe with their hands and then wash their hands. That's the idea. But I still don't feel like that's
in the river they shot
it. That's an A game. Yeah. Well, now you're talking about the very poor, like the very, very, very poor. Look, I'm going to extend a lot of leniency here. You know, like personally, I think you should hop in the water when you do your pooping. That's me. But you know, if you have a servant, I really think you should have some wet wipes. You know, skip right past the paper game. I think you guys are doing just paper are not at the top of the hygiene list here. But get some wet wipes, and you will have an ass that is as clean as it came.
The driven snow. Yeah.
Or something.